I brought the cake, vanilla bean, my nephew's favorite. The music was loud, 50 people in the backyard, all smiles and sun. I found my cousin David standing by the grill. "Glad I caught you, man," I said, clapping his shoulder. "Can't wait for the big family dinner tomorrow." He stopped flipping the burger. His smile died, replaced by a momentary, confused flash of pity. Then he laughed, a sudden, loud bark of disbelief that turned heads. "Wait, you don't know? That was yesterday." The air went thin. I felt the collective shift in the atmosphere, the glances exchanged over paper plates. My Aunt Carol rushed over, pulling out her phone, an elaborate photo album already cued. Toasts, a 20-person table, everyone smiling, glasses raised in a unified moment I had missed. I saw my mother and father, framed together, beaming. No one had called, no one had texted. My sister, Clara, approached, her face tight with impatience. She looked down her nose at my hands, which still held the untouched cake. "Maybe take the hint next time, Mark." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The humiliation was not the sting, it was the cold, sudden clarity. They were not forgetting me, they were managing me. I walked the cake back to my car, my feet crunching the gravel. The shock was already fading, replaced by a hollow, strategic silence. This wasn't the first time. The last Christmas party, the sudden cancellation of the ski trip, the weeks of silence after my minor surgery. They moved in concert, a coordinated unit of exclusion. They had convinced themselves I was disposable, a weak link who would simply drift away if ignored. They had weaponized my solitude. But why now? Why so blatant? The true conflict wasn't emotional, it was financial. Our family was built on a single, shared asset, the original parcel of land bordering the lake. My grandfather had divided the deed, giving each sibling an equal, unmortgageable share. My sister, my aunt, my father, they had always controlled the maintenance, the decision-making. I was the silent partner, the one they never bothered to consult. I was the one who signed the annual tax documents without looking. I spent the next 3 days in a sterile room downtown, paying a lawyer I found through a mutual friend. I pulled the land records. I reviewed the communications I was never privy to. It was worse than I thought. They weren't just excluding me, they were closing a deal. A huge corporate developer wanted the entire lakefront parcel. They needed all 4 signatures. They were planning to sell, collect their millions, and then present me with a check and a polite, final explanation. The value of the parcel, if sold whole, was $48 million. My cut? $12 million. They had held the family dinner to celebrate the imminent sale, counting their money before the contract was dry. They had kept me out because they knew, absolutely knew, that I would object to selling the legacy. The hint Clara referred to wasn't about missing a meal. It was about missing the final signature meeting. The evidence arrived at 4 p.m. on Friday, a digitally verified copy of the purchase agreement, set to close Monday, and a notarized, undated quitclaim deed, requiring only my signature. The price was listed in crisp black numbers. I called an emergency meeting. I didn't raise my voice. I simply said I needed to sign the documents immediately, or the developer would pull out. Panic flashed in my father's eyes. They all rushed over to my apartment, tense, eager, thinking they had won. They sat around my kitchen table, the 4 of them. I slid the quitclaim deed across the wood. "Here it is," I said, "the final step." Clara grabbed the pen first, ready to pressure me. I stopped her hand. "The money is good," I continued, keeping my voice flat, "but I won't be signing my portion over for cash." My father started to bluster, but I cut him off, my gaze fixed only on him. I reached into the adjacent envelope and pulled out the fully executed legal document. It was a deed of donation, My share, my $12 million portion of the lakefront, was now legally and irrevocably transferred to the State Wildlife and Conservation Trust, permanently protected, unsellable. The developer's contract was null and void. The $48 million deal was dead. I looked at Clara, whose face had gone sheet white, and then at my mother, whose shallow breathing was the only sound in the room. They saw the total loss, the millions vanishing, the greed turning into dust. I had known their leverage, and I had neutralized it. Not with fire, but with ice. I stood up. My apartment suddenly felt too small. I looked at the four faces, the architects of my exclusion, now rendered powerless. Their smiles were gone, replaced by a hollow terror far deeper than the simple pity David had shown. I finally understood the quiet power of real detachment. I had nothing more to lose from them. I picked up my keys and walked out, leaving the stunned silence, the paper, and the wreckage behind me. The lake was safe. My portion of the family was dead.